Hey guys, TommyBryson here, and around 3 months ago, before the stock market actually crashed, I had invested around $7,000 back in March, but that was about it in the stock market. And today I have around $55,000 invested, and the answer is because everything went on discount when the market crashed, and I went ahead and I bought more, and I bought more, and more investments. And in this video right here, guys, I'm gonna show you exactly what I invest into and tell you exactly why, and on top of that, how much money it actually makes me every single month in dividends. So every single detail that I have, I'm gonna tell you guys in this video right here. And on top of that, I post videos on this channel every single day, so make sure to also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And on top of that, also destroy the like button. And before I tell you guys all the details, there's just one thing I have to tell you, okay? My entire portfolio is based on making me income, making me steady returns. It's not about like, hey, I'm gonna put in $1,000 today and then tomorrow I'm going to have $1 million. That's almost impossible, and usually you'll probably lose a lot of the money, okay? So that's the point. So my portfolio is very well balanced, well diversified, and that way I get consistency and also consistent income, and in the future that portfolio will basically retire me in a sense, okay? And that's the entire goal for this portfolio right here. Now the first thing is this, guys, okay? My entire portfolio of $55,000 is broken down into 3 types of investments. I have ETFs, I also have bonds, and on top of that, I also have stocks I selected myself. So when it comes to Tommy, what do you own? Why do you own it? How much it makes you? Well, the first thing is this. Let's talk about the boring stuff, and that is called bonds. Everyone thinks that bonds are very boring, but in reality, I think bonds are pretty solid. They have solid returns. On top of that, they pay me money every single month, and on top of that, they're not as volatile. So my portfolio is made out of 20% bonds, okay? And to be honest, I actually enjoy having bonds. They're boring. The answer is no. I like consistency, and I also like the idea of like having bonds because that way it balances off your portfolio. So when the stock market goes down, usually bonds go up, which basically means your portfolio stays balanced. And that's something that I actually like because that way you don't lose a ton of money when the market goes down, for example, back in March or so. So when it comes to bonds, I have 2 different types of bonds, but again, they're all ETFs. So the main one is basically corporate bonds, and then I also have government bonds. So in corporate bonds, I have around 31.87 shares or so, and that pays me every single month around $10.98. And it has a total value of around $4,200. And by the way, all of the ticker symbols, the names, the amount of money I have, and all that stuff is down in the description down below, and that way you know exactly what it is. But if I said everything in this video right here, in reality, all you would hear is just numbers, equations, percentages. No, everything is down below, and that way you can see all of the details without having to worry about like, hey Tommy, what about this and what about that? No, everything is down below. And when it comes to government bonds, in reality, I have around 47 shares, and that pays me around $6.28 every single month. Again, it sounds like, hey Tommy, that's not a lot of money. What are you doing here? And by the way, I have around $4,000 in government bonds, and it's around like $8,000 in bonds or so. But the answer is, I like having bonds, although they don't pay a lot, because basically it's consistent income every single month, and on top of that, it doesn't fluctuate that much whatsoever. And also, when the stock market goes down, basically my bonds tend to also go up, which basically means it balances everything else. So in total, just in bonds, I make a total around like $16 to $17 or so, and not a lot. But again, it keeps adding up, and you'll see right now. And now, when it comes to the stocks that I actually own in my ETFs, well, I have around 5 different holdings, okay? So the first type is actually international ETFs that I actually hold. Now, Tommy, why do you own companies that are actually international? Isn't that risky? In reality, no. The answer is just investing into the US market is risky because sometimes the US market is doing well, but the outside market is doing better, and sometimes it might be polar opposite. But the point is, I want to have balance always when it comes to my portfolio. So basically, in international companies, my ETF right here, I own around 185 shares, and that pays me around $20 every single month. By the way, the ticker symbol is down below. That way you know exactly what I'm actually investing into, along with the name. You can find those on Yahoo Finance if you don't know exactly how to get it done. And yes, you can invest into them with Robinhood, SoFi, Acorns, Cash App, Stash App, whatever app you have, you can basically go out there and invest into these companies that I'm mentioning right here. And the second type I actually have are small companies. Now, the key thing about small companies is basically, although they're small, usually they grow a lot faster, which basically means they're a lot more volatile because some of them go up like crazy and some of them actually go down like crazy. So there's an inherent risk to them, and that's why I have ETFs. That way I own a bunch of them and I can limit my risk by actually owning these companies right here. But in total, I only own around 43 shares, and that pays me around $8 every single month. So far, not a lot, I know, but step by step, it keeps adding up and adding up. The third type is actually real estate ETFs, and this one actually pays you a lot more per month. And the reason is because basically, when a company owns real estate, it makes it income, and usually they don't reinvest it. Usually they either buy more property or basically issue out a dividends. So usually the dividends for these ones right here are actually a lot more higher. So basically I own around 47 shares, and that pays me around $12 every single month also. So far, 20 bucks, 8 bucks here, 12 bucks here. Before you know it, it'll be like $2 more, okay? But the point is, it keeps growing and it keeps growing and it keeps going. That's the entire goal here. Now, the fourth type is actually emerging stocks, which basically means stocks that are actually on the rise and are going up. Now, again, the risk is, yes, it might grow very, very fast, and that's awesome. But it also means that it actually might grow a lot slower, or for example, the company might actually go belly up, meaning it might go bankrupt. You never know. And that's why I do ETFs, and that way the risk is limited all around the board. So basically, in emerging stocks, I actually own around 47 shares, and that pays me around $5 every single month. And by the way, Tommy, what do you do with all the money you guys get paid? In reality, I don't take the money, I reinvest the money, and that way I keep buying more and more shares. And eventually in the long run, that means that I'll have more money invested, and also I'll get paid more money when I actually need the money. But right now I don't need it. So basically I have the money reinvest itself over and over and over again. Now, the last type of ETF stocks I actually have are the top 500 companies in the US. Now, this one is a little bit more expensive and is actually around like 280 bucks per share. And I own around, believe it or not, around 59 shares. It might not sound like a lot, but at 280, that's around $16,000 right then and there. Okay, so the point is, it can get very expensive very quickly, but again, it's a very solid investment, and it only pays me around 25 bucks every single month. Now, Tommy, why is that? Because in reality, the yield for this is around like 1% or so, because again, it's a lot less riskier. And when you talk about less risk, usually it means, well, less dividends also. And that's the entire point here. And most of the companies basically go out there and reinvest the money, but in reality, that's the basic reason why I don't make a lot of money from this right here. So in total so far, we have $20, $50 a year, and so on. Now, when it comes to stocks I actually picked myself, in reality, I only have around 3 stocks I actually bought myself and actually picked, and they're not really all that, okay? The number one is actually Delta. And in Delta, I have around 609 shares total, and that is equal to around $17,000 invested. And that pays me around $58 every single month. Again, a lot more money, but also a lot more risk. Tell me what goes to have you in this company. The answer is, I think the company is undervalued because everything's going on right now. And then once things recover, everything is going to be normal. But again, I only invest for the long run. So I'm holding on for 5 to 10 years. I'm not looking to make some quick cash or anything like that. So in reality, that's how I actually say like, hey, it might go down, it might go up. By the way, in reality, I'm actually up around like 17 to 20% in Delta right now because I basically bought at the bottom almost, okay? So that's the entire point here. Now, I also own one share, 1.22 shares in Microsoft, and that's only because Robinhood basically gave me a free share when one of you guys actually sign up. And talking about that, I'm gonna put a link down below to Robinhood, and when you sign up, you get a free stock and I get a free stock. And I want you guys to comment down below and let me know exactly what stock did you actually get. And the last stock that I actually have is actually Apple, and I literally own a fraction of the company, around $3 worth. Tell me why. The answer is I only bought it to test it out, okay? That was about it, okay? That's the whole thing. So guys, in total so far, I have a total amount, a total value of around $61,000 invested into stocks, into bonds, and also into ETFs that actually contain stocks. And that's the entire goal. As you can tell, a lot of diversification, and that's what I like, because in the end, all I want is consistent income, and all I want is consistent returns every single year. But my stock picking, that's different. That's more for like wealth building, but that's a different video for another day. Now, number 2. When it comes to how much money do you actually make in dividends in total, well, in reality, just in dividends alone, I make a total around $148 every single month. Now, it sounds like, oh my gosh, a lot of money. But again, remember, I'm investing around $61,000 total to get back $148 every single month. And you might say, Tommy, wow, that kind of sucks, right? Not worth it. In reality, it's worth it because in the end, the more you invest, and maybe like in 10 years, 15 years or so, that money will keep multiplying and multiplying. And before you know it, my whole goal is this, okay? That money could potentially basically replace your income. Just in dividends could actually replace your entire income. Now, number 3, Tommy, what is your actual goal with all of these investments? You take bonds, you also have stocks, and you also have ETFs. So what's the goal here? The answer is, in the end, like I said before, all I really want is to keep investing, have passive income. On top of that, not really have the much fluctuation. And by the way, the older I get, the more I'll actually invest into bonds, because basically that's how it's supposed to be done. So in my 20s, I have 20% into bonds, my 30s, 30% into bonds, in my 40s, 40% into bonds, and so on and so on and so on. But by the age of 35 or so, I actually expect to have around $70,000 to $48,000 coming in every single year just from dividend income. Will I take it? The answer is it depends, but I'll probably just reinvest the money over and over again. But the overall idea is this, guys, okay? I started investing with literally around like $7.80 or so back in December of 2018. But now I'm around $61,000, and I also make around $140 in dividends every single month. It might not sound like a lot of money in dividends, but trust me, it keeps adding up and adding up and adding up. And eventually, that money in dividends will basically replace your income, and that is the entire goal right there. But guys, comment down below and let me know, what do you want to invest into? And by the way, if you want to invest into exactly what I invested into, I'm going to put all the information down below in the description, and that way you know exactly the names, how much money I make, the yields, and I'm also going to put a link to my Excel sheet that shows you exactly how I invest and everything, also linked down below. But as always, comment down below and let me know, was this video helpful in any way? And on top of that, comment down below and let me know, how much money do you need to make in dividends to actually be financially free? I want to find out. My number is around $70,000 a year, and that could be basically like financially free. I don't really need any money whatsoever, okay? And that's the entire goal. But as always, guys, if you enjoyed this video right here, guys, well, like this video. On top of that, also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell so you're notified every time I post a new video. And on top of that, I have a second channel called TommyBryson Show where I post there every single day. Also follow me on TommyBryson. And before I go, if you want to watch another video on the basic for investing, the basics, well, here's a video right here. Also, click my favorite now. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and as always, peace.